of the month, a year in review. Hey guys, welcome back. Every month in 2023, I had my subscribers pick a book of the month book for me to purchase, read, and do spoiler talks on. All links are down below. This was a great experience and it gave me a complete view of what book of the month offers, the way they work, and it gave me the opportunity to read a wide variety of main picks. Today, we're going to find out if it's the right service for you. But first, I have to say, Book of the Month has never sponsored anything on my channel. I have purchased everything with my own money and all of my opinions on the service are 100% my own. Book of the Month is a monthly book subscription box where you can get a new release book of your choosing shipped to you for $16.99 a month. Your subscription is charged on the 24th of every month, and if you choose to skip a month, that credit will roll over to the next month, and they will not charge you again until you have not skipped a month. Every new month, they release between 5 and 7 main picks, ranging in different genres that they choose from. Once you select a main pick, you can then choose additional books as add-ons to ship for a lesser price each, $11.99 per book after you ship 3 boxes. So if you want to ship a box, you must pick at least one book from their main picks that month. Then you can select additional books either from any month's main picks or their collection of add-ons. For example, in December of 2023, a main pick I got was The Kingdom of Sweets. For add-on options, I could choose either any year or months past main picks or any add-ons from any time. There are several perks that come with being a longtime subscriber of Book of the Month. After shipping 3 boxes, you become a friend, which gives you the perk of shipping add-ons for a lower price per book. After shipping 12 boxes, you become a BFF. And when this happens, they send you a free tote bag. You always get 20% off of anything from the Book of the Month merch store. You do get a credit for a free book in your birthday month. And every year they have this Book of the Year selection where BFFs get to choose a free book from any of the Book of the Year finalists. Now, your enjoyment of the service is obviously going to depend on if they offer books that you want to read. So let's get into it. There were 70 Book of the Month main picks in 2023, with each month ranging from 5 to 7 new picks. Unlike a lot of other book subscription boxes that are focused on a singular genre and they feature one book each month, Book of the Month does offer a variety of different options to choose from. In 2023, Book of the Month's most common genres as main picks were thrillers and contemporary fiction. Of the 70 main picks, 13 were thrillers and 13 were contemporary fiction. If you like either of these genres, Book of the Month is a great option. They were offered every month and even twice in specific months. Their second highest picks were historical fiction with 10, and then romance and literary fiction with 9 each. The rest of the list consists of 1 to 4 selections that are just one-offs, like fantasy, horror, gothic fiction, magical realism, dystopian, memoir, young adult, and short story collections. I also looked back at the main pick selection genres from 2021 and 2022, and I found the data to be similar. Thrillers by far are the most picked main selection for Book of the Month. From the past 3 years, from 2021 to 2023, thrillers were the most picked genre, taking over 20% of the main picks. Of the 196 picks from the last 3 years, 43 of them were thrillers. So, if you like thrillers, or even contemporary fiction, historical fiction, romance, or literary fiction, Book of the Month is a great option for you. Most months, you'll have something to choose from that you might want to read. Thrillers are every month, it seems like. So if you like thrillers, there you go. If you mainly read one of the other genres that I mentioned that don't get picked very often, there's probably a better book subscription box out there for you, and you might find yourself skipping a lot and being like, there are a lot of thrillers. Why are there so many thrillers and no fantasy, whatever. That does kind of happen a lot. Now, in terms of genre, I took the data based off of what book of the month labeled the book genre as on their website. Now, some of these genres I actually disagree with and would have labeled them a little bit differently. I am looking at you, Vampires of El Norte. That was 100% a romance book, not a horror book. So keep in mind while you are picking your main selections, that book of the month will label the genre based on the publisher's main genre of the book. It can be a good idea to cross-reference the book on Goodreads to see what other tags they have in terms of genres. I agree with their genreing more than I do with book of the month. They indicate multiple genres to help you have a better idea of what to expect from the book. So this can also help to ensure that you're picking a book genre that you actually think that you will enjoy. After spending a year using the service, I have found some personal likes and dislikes. In terms of likes, one of the biggest things I like is the exposure. There are some books that I only read or was only aware of because they were Book of the Month picks. Some books I would not have chosen to read if it wasn't for Book of the Month. For example, Inkblood Sister Scribe. It didn't end up being a poll winner, but everybody in the comments were talking about how great it was, so I read it and I loved it. I would not have read that book otherwise if it weren't for our other Book of the Month fans telling me how great that book was and me actually getting it as an add-on one month. Also, Book of the Month does a great job of picking debut authors for their main picks, like Inkblood Sister Scribe. That was a debut author. A lot of the books that I picked from last year or from years past, they have been debut authors. They feature a lot of debut authors. So I actually do think that is very cool to get those authors exposure when they maybe wouldn't have otherwise. Book of the Month also, some months will offer an early release book. For example, in December, there was a thriller pick that wasn't coming out until the end of January. But if you picked it, you could read it in December. So that's pretty cool. I also think it's a pretty affordable price for a hardback book. For $16.99 a piece, that's including shipping, it gets sent right to your door. And that's a cheaper price than if you were to buy the book directly from Amazon or Barnes & Noble, whichever. Some people do say, however, that the hardbacks from Book of the Month are a lower quality from the books that you would get from the traditional publisher. I would agree with that some months. I have gotten some books that I know specifically, if you watch my Amina video, I think you could hear it like, the book made a noise every time I turned a page. So yes, I do agree that the quality isn't amazing, but it's a $16.99 book, so what do you really expect? The quality personally doesn't bother me. Now, I'm someone who actually likes the aesthetic of the Book of the Month covers with the Book of the Month logo on the spine. So there's the little coin at the very top on the majority of the Book of the Month books. Now, some Book of the Month picks don't have the logo on the spine due to publisher agreements. Not gonna lie, those ones kind of bum me out because then they don't match when they're all in a row. But what are you going to do? At first, when I first started getting into Book of the Month, I was like, I don't really like that they're branding it so much. I don't like the little tag at the top. But the more I've been getting the Book of the Month books, the more I'm like, oh, I kind of like the tag, and I get mad when it doesn't have the little coin. I found that their shipping is pretty quick for at least where I live. I do know that some people in Canada maybe do have a little bit more issues with how speedy the box does get to them. I am in the US, so for me, I probably get my box the week after I place the order, so I'm pretty happy with that. Also, I found that they have a really good customer service. I have seen talkings on Reddit, on their subreddit, talking about how if a book is damaged or anything like that, customer service will just send them another book at no charge. I had a personal experience with their customer service during my birthday month. If you go back and watch that video, it was in August, by the way, I was like, I should have a free birthday credit. Where's my free birthday credit? I'm a BFF. Where's my credit? So I called, and the rep who helped me was so nice. They were such a doll. And he was like, oh, it says your birthday month is listed as September. And I was like, oh no, it should be August. And he's like, oh, it's fine. I'll just change it. And he changed it when I was on the phone and I refreshed and I was like, oh, there's the credit. And he's like, oh yeah, there you go. And I was like, thank you so much. So yes, he was very kind in helping me, even though it was totally my fault because I was an idiot and I put in my wrong birthday month when I signed up for the service. So thank you to him for helping me figure that out. So getting that free credit on my birthday month was very exciting for me. I think that's a great perk also being a BFF. I mean, you get a free book. And then at the end of the year, when they do their Book of the Year finalists, you get one of those books for free as well. I like that they have no skip limits. So in 2023, obviously I didn't skip any months because I used the service for a full year. But in 2024, I will definitely be taking advantage of this no skip limit. I'm running out of bookshelf space, so I can't keep buying new books every single month. So I'm gonna slow down a little bit, be a little bit more choosy with what I pick every single month. So since I'm taking some breaks every month, it's nice that I can skip without it being a big deal. Now for dislikes, naturally, you're buying books that you haven't read. You have the risk of buying a book that you end up not liking. It's gonna happen, you know? That's gonna happen whether you have Book of the Month or whether you pre-buy it from Amazon or get it from Target, wherever you buy books. It's gonna happen. You buy the book, you read it, you hate it. There's nothing you can do. Then you own the book and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this book that I hate? If that does happen to you, it might be a good thing if you have other like book friends that you can swap with to, you know, be like, oh, I bought this book and I hate it. You want it? For me, it's a little bit more of a problem because I don't have anybody else in my life that is into books like I am. I mean, that's why I started this channel so that I could talk to other people about books. So if I try to give anybody else in my life my Book of the Month books, they're gonna be like, I don't want that. So that is a little bit of a difficult thing. You end up with, if you don't like the book or you're like, I'm never going to reread this again, you end up with a stack of these hardcover heavy books where you're like, what am I gonna do with this stack of books now? Next dislike is I do find that sometimes new add-ons will often look more appealing than the actual monthly picks. Therefore, you have to choose a main pick if you want a specific add-on one month, and that can be a little annoying. So I am specifically salty about the fact that some add-ons look better than main picks because partway through December, they added the book Butcher and the Blackbird as an add-on. So I already missed my December box. And then when we got to January, I didn't find any of the main picks to be appealing, but I really wanted this add-on. So you have two options. You can, if you don't want to wait, you can either pick a main pick that you aren't really excited for and then actually get the add-ons that you are excited for, or you just have to wait until the next month. So I'm going to start only buying add-ons if I'm getting a main pick that I legitimately want. So that is a little frustrating. So I am going to start keeping a list of add-ons that I want, and then I will only buy them if I legitimately want one of their main books so that I don't just buy books that I don't actually want just to get the add-on. The last thing that I don't like about Book of the Month, and this is super nitpicky, but I feel like other people might be able to relate. I get so frustrated that I don't know when the new picks for each month are going to be dropping. It tends to range anywhere between the 27th and the 1st. And the anticipation can be a killer because you have no idea when they're going to randomly be like, oh, look, the new books are here. And so for like almost an entire week, I'm constantly checking the app, checking online, being like, when are they posting these picks? It drives me absolutely nuts, not knowing and not having it be a consistent date on when they post the new picks. It makes me so mad. Now, as a takeaway, you don't have to be a subscriber to the service to be able to go online and see what their new book picks are each month. So this could be a really great way, even if you don't want to subscribe to the service, to figure out what is new coming out that month and then just go and rent it from the library. If you don't want to spend money on a book that you're unsure of every single month, Book of the Month may not be for you. There were months when I looked at the picks and I was bummed because nothing catches my eye. However, there are some books that I wouldn't have read without seeing them on Book of the Month, and now they're amongst some of my favorites, like Wayward, Inkblood Sister Scribe, and Adventures of Amina. So it's a tough one. Some genres aren't represented well, in my opinion. Fantasy, horror, nonfiction, and young adult. It can seem like they can be pretty slim pickings for those ones. But if you want to dip your toes into thrillers or contemporary or literary fiction, Book of the Month has no shortage of those types of books. Personally, I love Book of the Month as a service. Every month I am excited to see what the picks are going to be, and it's a great way to kick off the month for me. I get a lot of enjoyment out of looking through their picks and judging them. I am going to be more choosy with my picks this year, however. In 2023, I bought a book every month. In some months, I even bought multiple books. Looking back, there were about half of those that I was really into the premise of, but then the book ended up being a bit of a letdown. But that leaves about half that I ended up really loving. So it's really up to each individual person to determine if that risk is worth it. All in all, if you are curious about the service, it really is a simple process to join and just try it out for a month. If it ends up not being for you, you can cancel at any time. It's super easy to do so. You can also check out my monthly selection videos where you can see me go through all of the past month selections. And you can also check out my Book of the Month spoiler talks if there's any specific books that you want a more in-depth review of. Those will all be linked below. But that is it for me today, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.